and welcome to my open house presentation. I am Vanessa Kramer, and I'm going to talk about AP Environmental Science and biology. So if you would like to just see the biology piece, just scroll to about the middle of this recording and you'll find the biology piece. So first, I just want to start by telling you a little bit about why I love teaching your students. They are fun, they're interesting, they're willing to engage with almost anything I ask them to do, and they ask really great questions. Whether it be at the river, or out in the forest collecting tree data, or digging into a first response question in class, they always bring the fun, and they bring the great questions, and they just make every experience a really great one. So thank you. Thank you for all that you do to help support them and to help make them really great people. I appreciate it. The next thing that I want to share is, and I usually share this with students too, that if I'm stressed out and overwhelmed, it has nothing to do with them. It is almost always having to do with other things. COVID, it's a hard year, there's a lot going on, and I have 2 little ones at home. And as many people know, my husband was diagnosed with brain cancer last summer. So I spent this past year at home with him, focusing on the treatment and focusing on the kids and focusing on our new son. So there's always a lot going on, as I know many of you completely understand, I'm sure. So it's not that I'm upset or angry with students ever. So I also want you to know some things about the course. The first thing is that it's fast-paced and is equal to about a first semester college intro. So we cover a lot of material. There are so many standards outlined by College Board, and all the links to the standards can be found in the syllabus, or you can always just look up the course description for AP Environmental Science. The anchor standards that we are going to focus on this year are investigating, analyzing, arguing, and explaining. And some things that I value, not in any particular order, are staying calm and staying centered, having students design experiments, constructing our understanding together, being gentle with each other, and making sure to balance schoolwork with life commitments. I get that we have a lot going on, and then it might be hard in a lot of cases for students to be doing their schoolwork at home. It's hard for me to do work at home, so I want to understand that there's a lot of challenges this year. And also that we're all rough drafts. We're always getting better, we're always improving, we're always finding new ways to do things. And hopefully we can do a lot of that this year. The next thing is values. I asked students to identify some values too, right, in the beginning of the year. And these are the values that my A block and D block came up with. I thought it was interesting that the left side is the first A block and D block, so that's like Monday and Thursday students, and then the other side is the Tuesday, Friday students. And we see values that are shared across the sections, even though, you know, they're not in school together, so I thought that was interesting. They really want it to be a safe place, a kind environment, a place where we're helping each other, where there's lots of collaboration, and they would like to work outside. So some really great things for us to be thinking about. Also interesting, and of course I misspelled environmental in this graph, but I asked students to place some value on why they are in the AP class. And so, as we can see, a pretty big percentage of students this year are interested in environmental activism, which is really awesome. So something to think about as we go through lessons this year. And then we also have a huge value on loving the outdoors, loving the environment, and we have a significant amount of value on getting a high score on the exam, the college credit piece, and having another transcript. So we're like looking towards our future and we're valuing the AP experience, but we're also really interested in the environment and outdoors. So that's really awesome to see what students value to help us make some, you know, value-based decisions as we go throughout the year. And then we have some information about what we're studying. So the topics and the weight in the exam are outlined by College Board, and you can see those here. There are 9 different topics. And, you know, I've merged some of those into some units here up above. So checkpoint 1 and 2, we're thinking about how can we utilize our campus to collect data, to get outside, and to analyze some real world data connecting to what we're learning. And then we look at the living world, ecosystems and energy flow, and then we move to human populations, atmospheric, atmosphere and atmospheric pollution, and we round out the year with energy and climate change and food production. Then after the exam, they'll have some kind of final choice project that they can work on for the rest of the year. And I know that it's really important probably for families to understand how students know what work they need to do. And so we have assignments that are posted on Google Classroom. And of course, the course planner is updated at the beginning and the end of each week as homework is assigned. So when we look at, Google Classroom, we can see, this is just a screenshot of the most recent homework. So we can see that they're numbered. There is a category, homework field studies, right at the top. The first thing they should see under the classwork tab, and then the homework is numbered 8, 9, 10, 11. So hopefully it is not ambiguous what they need to do. They can always email me and ask questions, but I don't want it to be ambiguous. I want them to know exactly what they need to do, in what order, and when it should be completed by. And then the other piece, of course, is the class planner. So I'll just show you that really fast, but we have the course syllabus up at the top. We have our standards that we're covering at that time. We have a link to the class slideshow. So that's every single lesson plan, and all of the documents that we use are all linked in there. So anytime students can go there to see anything that we've done in class. Then if we scroll down, we can see an overview of each homework assignment. The links aren't there because they should be completing the work in Google Classroom, but all of the descriptions about the homework assignments are there in the class planner. And then the final statement I think is really important is that students' learning is my utmost priority. I do care, what I care about is you, your personal well-being, and your ability to grow and develop as a person and as a student. The topics, the lessons, the syllabus, the curriculum, all of these have been carefully chosen to align with the AP exam at the end of this course. That does not mean, however, that I care about the exam more than I care about you. You may care very deeply about your success on the AP exam, and I can support you, but it will not drive the pace of instructional activities, nor the spirit with which we conduct our business. So I was messing up so much, I thought it would be better to just read it. But really, I think we should just never put the standards before the people, or the standards before our emotional health. I think it's really important that we keep in mind the standards, but we also make sure that we're people first, values first, health first, as we go through the year. So thank you so much for listening, and please feel free to email me, contact me if you have any questions. I'm really happy to answer any of those as they come up. Okay, now I'm transitioning to biology. Thank you so much for being here to listen a little bit about biology. And I want to make sure to tell you first why I love teaching your students. They are creative, they make me laugh, they work really hard, they ask awesome questions. They are just really great people, and I enjoy them so much. And I'm just so happy to get to work with them. So thank you for all that you do to help support them. I also want to make sure to tell you that, and I tell students this too, that if I'm ever grumpy, overwhelmed, stressed out, it usually has nothing to do with them. It usually has to do with COVID, the crazy year that's going on, all the grading I have to do, and probably the fact that life is a little busy with the 2 little ones at home. And as you probably know, my husband was diagnosed with brain cancer last year. So he's doing really well. He finished his last round of chemo in September. He's going back to an 80% teaching position at the Sharon Academy. But life can get a little bit crazy and can be unexpected with the little ones. So there are some things that I'd just like to tell you about the class so you kind of have an overview of what's going on. And the first thing is that really there's a lot in biology that's almost unobservable in a sense, or at least really hard to observe. We see these big processes, and really underlying all of those are these really small things. Molecules, cells, parts of cells, they're all so small, but they're all so essential because everything that happens that we can see has underlying it some kind of cellular process, molecular process that's happening. So we're going to be looking at some big things this year, but always trying to get down to what is the root of them, what is causing them, what is happening in those underlying processes. So our first checkpoints, 1 and 2, are really focusing on global health. And of course, the viruses, bacteria, antibiotic resistance, and allowing students to explore one of those pieces in their final big summative. And then we're going to be thinking about metabolism and nutrition. So that's really looking a lot on the processes that our body uses to get energy and what are the molecules that make up our bodies? What are the molecules that we're taking in when we eat? And then the 5th and 6th checkpoints, we're thinking about genetic modification, DNA, genes, chromosomes, and protein synthesis, and genetics. And then the last 2 checkpoints, we're really thinking about hopefully comparative anatomy through like an evolution lens, or evolution through comparative anatomy lens. So that we are thinking about evolution, but thinking about comparing body systems among organisms and seeing how they evolved. So there are some standards here that we're studying: investigating, analyzing, arguing, explaining, and we already so far have done 3 formative arguing, 3 in investigating, and 1 in analyzing. So we're really working on a lot of those anchor standards right off. And there's also a list of things that I value. So I think it's really important to be thinking about values, especially in such a crazy year. I value staying centered, finding some calm, having students designing experiments. Right now, we have some bacteria incubating. They designed their first experiment, which is around bacteria. So you can ask them to tell you about what independent variable they tested for their bacteria experiment. And we are also hopefully always trying to construct our understanding together, because I think it's so important. I also want students to be gentle with each other, and I hope that we're all gentle with each other. And we're balancing schoolwork with life commitments. I really want to recognize that sometimes working at home is so hard. It's not an easy thing to do. And we're all rough drafts. We're all growing and changing and learning and getting better. And hopefully we're especially focusing on that this year with everything that's going on. The other interesting thing is that students actually identified values at the beginning of the year. And on the left side, you have the Monday, Thursday students, and on the right side, you have the Tuesday, Friday students. So it's kind of neat to see that across the sections, even though they're not in school on the same day, they had some values that aligned with each other. So they're hoping that we are kind, treating everyone well, going outside, which was easier to do in the beginning of the year. It's getting a little cooler now. They want to respect space by social distancing. So like, how awesome is it that students are thinking that we should take care of each other? It's like indicative of Vermont, like we're taking care of our neighbors, making sure everyone stays healthy. So cool. And they believe in hands-on learning, active lessons, and being respectful and not judging each other. So just really great values that students put forward. I also want to make sure to share with you how students know what work to do. So they have assignments that are posted in Google Classroom, and they have the course planner is updated at the beginning and the end of each week as the homework is assigned. So I can show you a snapshot of Google Classroom, and under the classwork tab, we have the homework, topic of homework for global health, and then they're all listed in order. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, in order so far. And every time I add a new one, we'll add a new number. Once we start a new topic, we'll add a new topic, and then we'll start again at homework 1 for that topic. But I don't want it to be ambiguous. I want students to know what they need to be doing. I think that's really important. And also there is the course planner. So if you look at the course planner, you can easily find the course syllabus, the class slideshow that contains all the lesson plans. And then if you scroll down, you can see the overview of each homework on there. So I do think that it's a great resource to see what's going on. You can always also ask your student to log into Google Classroom and show you what they've submitted and what they haven't, and maybe show you around Google Classroom a little bit as well. So thank you so much again for listening about biology. Reach out to me, email me, vkramer@wcsu.net if you have any questions. I would be happy to try to answer those for you. Thank you.